Hello everyone, so I'm going to go over the Demonology 7.0 for Legion. So this will be the pre-patch to Legion. Um, there's going to be quite a lot of changes for this class, so I know that a lot of you will be wondering what's changed, what's going to be best for just the pre-patch, because we don't have the class weapon, so a lot of things will be slightly different and numbers aren't completely tuned for the pre-patch, so we have to make use with what we have. I'm going to go firstly over all the spells. So we got Banish, doesn't matter, just the same. Call Dreadstalkers, this is one of the main abilities. So this is one of your soul shards that you're going to be spending on. It costs 2. We have 5 soul shards maximum. So Call Dreadstalkers cost 2, summon they last for 12 seconds, and there's a lot of synergy between summoning the pets as they last 12 seconds, and some of them last 24, 25 seconds. And one of the abilities that we can buff pets with. Command Demon, yeah, usually it's going to be Fellstorm, that's our AoE for the pet. Hellstone, Soulwell, that's a talent, I'll go over those later. So we got Demonic Empowerment. This is a short cast time. It will buff the health and haste, and with your mastery it buffs damage as well. So health and haste by 50%, lasts for 12 seconds. You can see that synergizes with Dreadstalkers, 12 seconds as well. We have Demonic Gateway, stays the same. Demon Wrath is one of the abilities that we use to generate soul shards. When I use it, you can see the purple around the pet. It's used for AoE when there are several targets available to be hit with Demon Wrath. It's also usable on the move, which is more important for when we are having to move and can't cast. So it's just a nice little thing for even if it's just single target and you're having to run around. We have Doom. Doom's changed slightly. Doom also generates a soul shard when it deals damage, and at default it's 20 seconds it takes to tick. So you apply it when the debuff falls off, that's 20 seconds. It improves with haste, so mine says 16.7 seconds, and this would be essentially pointless to cast if the ad was going to live for 8 seconds, but there is a talent which I'll go over later which can synergize with this. Even though it doesn't get to do its damage, it's worth putting on. Drain Life, heals for a bit, does a little bit of damage, same as usual. Drain Life is more for affliction, deals a lot more damage and healing. Enslaved Demon, yeah, same thing. I have Kill Rogue, nothing to worry about. Fear, again. Then Talent. Hand of Gul'dan has changed. So this consumes from 1 to 4 soul shards. And for each soul shard that it uses, will summon a Wild Imp. Wild Imps do a lot of your damage, and you want to be casting Hand of Gul'dans at 4 or 5 shards so that it consumes up to 4 maximum. And when you summon these, then you want to be using the Empowered Demonic Empowerment. So you summon the Imps, they last for 12 seconds again, just like the Dreadstalker, and you want to be using Demonic Empowerment as soon as possible to empower those Imps. Health Funnel, same. Life Tap, you're going to be using this quite a lot. Ritual of Summoning, same. Shadow Bolt, so this is your main soul shard generator. Has a base, a 2-second cast, improves with haste. This can turn into Demon Bolt with a talent. Soul Stone, same. Summon Demon, you're always going to have your Felguard. And now for our cooldowns, our Summon Doomguard, which used to be the 10-minute one, now it's 3 minutes. But it only lasts 25 seconds, it does a lot of damage. Again, you can only use this or the Summon Infernal. pretty much stick with Doomguard all the time. Infernal did get a bit of a damage buff, but it's still way better to use Doomguard. Unending Breath, same. Unending Resolve, same. And Mastery. So that's when you use Demonic Empowerment, increases your damage by a lot of the pets. This is where people need to understand that Demonic Empowerment is so important to keep up. It doesn't actually do damage, it doesn't buff yourself, but your pets are your main damage source, so you really want to keep this up as much as possible. When you summon new imps, new Dreadstalkers, you're going to be empowering them. Make sure that you track it. This is my really rubbish PTR add-on tracks. At the moment I'm going to be making them better when it hits live. So you want to make sure that you have this up for your pet. Soul Leech, great damage reduction, that's a talent I'll go over. Soul Link, same. And forget that, that's the Green Fire quest. So they are the spells, and we'll go over the talents now. So with the talents, there's quite a lot of variation you can choose from. Numbers, hopefully they aren't final, because some things which are a bit funny, but I'll go over what should be the most optimal for the pre-patch. So starting from the first, we've got Shadowy Inspirations. This means that every time you cast Demonic Empowerment, also causes your Shadow Bolt to be instant cast. Now, you think that sounds good? It is, but it is definitely for more on the move. You can use it to move when you get the instant Shadow Bolts, but because Shadow Bolt has a 2 second cast default, with haste it improves, and haste is a really valuable stat for Demonology to get more pets out. As you can see, mine is 1.67 seconds. So when it's instant cast, I'm only saving 0.5 seconds really. If it was just a patchwork single target, don't move fight, I'm only saving 0.5 of a second really. And it's not that much of a time when you compare it to some of the other talents what you could be benefiting. So I'd choose this one if you are not very confident with Demonology and you feel that, oh, I'm keep pressing Demonic Empowerment too much when I shouldn't be. This means that basically it's a bit of a support for you if you are overpressing Demonic Empowerment, in the sense that you get that time that you wasted casting it back into your Shadow Bolt, so you get the instant cast version. You remember, you never want to be doing a Demonic Empowerment and then summoning imps and then do another Demonic Empowerment, because you'd waste your instant Shadow Bolt. So if you do cast Demonic Empowerment, make sure you get a cast off of Shadow Bolt before you do another one. Shadow Flame, it works like Hand of Gul'dan used to. It still does in live, but the way that you get the stack is that you fire one off. It has 3 charges. You fire one off just before it runs out the debuff on the target. You want to make sure that you cast another one. So we'll see here. I cast it. See, it's got 7 seconds, 6, 5. So while it's recharging, I'm going to fire another one off now, and you can see it's on 2 stacks. But now this first one's recharged. Now I can fire the third one, and that's the most you can get. So you want to be doing that every time you do Shadow Flame. It does generate Soul Shard each time you use it, so it's good, but it's a bit annoying to manage. It's really just for single target. It allows for that burst every half a minute because you got to wait for it to recharge. Like now, I'm still waiting for the second one to recharge. It's got 3, 2, 1, and I can press it again. You want to make sure both are charged so you can get this 3 stack, as it's really important to clip. If you're only getting 2, I don't really think it's worth choosing this talent. It'd be much better sticking with Shadowy Inspiration even. But the best talent which I've seen really for the pre-patch, is going to be Demonic Calling. So this means that your Shadow Bolts and Demon Bolts, if you choose a talent, I'll go over later, 20% chance, Demon Wrath has 5% for each target, to make your next Call Dreadstalkers cost no shards. So that's going to save you 2 shards every 15 seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds. 2 shards every 15 seconds saved. Shadow Flames giving you 1 shard every 14 seconds with a bit of damage. So you can see that this is giving you, over a long fight, it will give you more shards back than this one. But the problem is with Shadow Flame is that it is using global cooldown. So in a sense you could have been casting half of your Shadow Bolt again already, and it would have been half a shard. This won't always proc though for your Dreadstalkers. The more haste you have, then the more chance you're going to get the Shadow Bolts to proc. I'm really focusing on single target really, unless you're going to be going for AoE. This is definitely, if you're going to be going for AoE, choosing this one over Shadow Flame. So we'll really be going Demonic Calling for pretty much everything. Shadowy Inspirations if you're not too confident with Demonology. And Shadow Flame for single target. You need to make sure you get those 3 stacks, otherwise I wouldn't take this one. Next row is all about Imps. So we have Impending Doom. I wouldn't really worry about this one. I don't really think that it's going to be good at all. It's very situational, and maybe there's a fight or 2 in the new raids which would be good for this, but right now, for pre-patch at least, don't go with this one. It's either between Improved Dreadstalkers, which your Dreadstalkers now get to ride. You got 2 Imps riding on your Dreadstalkers. It's pretty cool. So I'll summon the Dreadstalkers out. And they run off. And you can see the 2 Imps riding on Dreadstalkers. So that's pretty cool. Essentially that's an extra 2 Imps. An extra 2 pets which can buff your Demon Bolt damage. However, there is the weapon, the legendary weapon, which again is in Legion, not the pre-patch, so it won't can't get that benefit yet. But yeah, so just sticking to the pre-patch. This is giving you an extra 2 imps for Demon Bolt and pretty good damage. I will go over some synergy that this one will be better than Implosion for some scenarios. Implosion is for AoE, like bursting damage. We don't get the synergy that we do in Legion yet with this one, about buffing other pets with it. So just focusing on pre-patch, this is for burst damage. Probably going to be for 2-3 targets. If you can get it exploding all the time, it will beat improved Dreadstalkers. It's a bit clutch to be using it. You've got to make sure you're getting it right. If you're missing it, might just be better just going improved Dreadstalkers. The way that Implosion works is that you want to bring in all your imps just before their time is up. So I'm just going to get some shards now. Get a 4 shard for the imps and summon them out. And so you can see the imps are there, and just under my profile they've got how long they have left. So just before they are about to expire, I'll bring them in and explode. And you see it's hit this dummy as well. Just put me in combat. So you want to make sure you're getting it just before they expire to get the value of them casting their ability and their ability to explode as well. I will show you something as well which is quite handy to know, is that when you... So I'm going to get a bunch of shards. Alright, let's get 5. So we're going to summon our Hand of Gul'dan. I'm just going to get more imps out now. I would be empowering them, but I'm just going to get imps out. So got all these imps out, and just before, when I use Hand of Gul'dan, I'm going to cast Imp Explosion, and it only grips in the imps that were out before. If you use Implosion just literally as soon as you cast Hand of Gul'dan, you do not suck in the imps that you just spawned. That's really valuable to know for especially in Legion, but for the pre-patch that's something to know. So you want to get, say, you want to get an explosion on Zul'Harak for when everything's down, but you only want to get those imps that you've just spawned to suck in. You do the Handy Gul'dan, then you suck them in, explode them, and you still have the imps that you just spawned. They get their full value, and you can do it again, and you can just keep doing it over and over, really. It's quite consistent, and that's why Implosion doesn't waste the imps, really. It is a global cooldown. Maybe you lose a second, you could lose like one cast for each imp, but it does do a lot of damage, especially for dungeons. You'd definitely be taking this one. It's great. So, Demon Skin, next row. This is pretty much what you're going to be going for almost all the time, unless you need a stun with Shadow Fury. Shadow Fury does have a cast now, which is annoying. It does last 4 seconds. So, Demon Skin basically gives you a passive shield. So, you can see my Soul Leech says 96k damage. I've got rid of it, so it'll stack up, and you can see it's going up by 4k, 5k each second. So that's a lot of damage reduction that when some boss does an AoE ability, the next time he does it, you could get your Soul Leech up. Excuse me. You can get your Soul Leech up like 50k. Let's see what health I have now. So I've got 500k health. It's giving me 10% pretty quick, and that just saves a lot of healing for the healers. It gives you a lot more survivability. So it's definitely the best choice. Mortal Coil is just a small 11% heal, and CC. I definitely see this more as PvP, maybe even leveling if you want to be CCing mobs. I'd still just stick with Demon Skin. Yeah, and then you got Shadow Fury, the AoE stun. Next row, this is damage again now. So we have Hand of Doom. This is makes your Hand of Gul'dan now gives Doom to all the targets it hits. So this means you never have to cast Doom anymore, which is really nice. Definitely for people who don't want to manage it and they want to make it a bit more simpler, it's definitely a better choice. It synergizes really well with Summon Dark Glare, which I'll go over later. But so the choice is really, you want to use this one for if you're not too confident with it again. It saves a lot more time to be casting off the Dooms. Or you can choose Power Trip. This is a really nice one. It means that every time you cast Demonic Empowerment, it has a 50% chance to give you a Soul Shard. And it says when used in combat, so you can't cheese it and get 5 shards on the pull. So this one I'd say is most likely the best choice right now, because even though Soul Harvest is what Dark Soul is right now, it increases your damage by 20%, last 10 seconds, increases by 2 seconds for every target with Doom, up to a maximum of 30 seconds. So yeah, it's great, but it's quite hard to be getting the long duration of it. But the amount of soul shards that you get with Power Trip, especially with the big haste that you can be having now since we're fully geared in the pre-patch, you're going to be getting a lot more demonic empowerments than you will be in Legion. When we first start out, you're not going to have as much haste. Things are going to be slower, so you won't get as many of these. You won't get as many shards. Might be better going Soul Harvest then, but right now, Power Trip, you're going to be casting a lot of these with the amount of imps you're spawning, Dreadstalkers, all your pets. It's really good, this one. So Soul Harvest is just that nuke on-demand burst. There's 2 minutes, so it's quite a while. It's really annoying because it doesn't synergize with your Summon Doomguard 3-minute cooldown. So you might have to hold on to this, which devalues it, but it is just there for the burst. Maybe for progression, this will be better when you want to be killing ads fast. But yeah, in general, Power Trip. Next row really sucks. we have Demonic Circle. So they made our portal into a talent. Thanks, please. So it is one button now, and it's really annoying because you need to make a macro for it to get rid of the portal. Like, as you can see now, I can't put another portal down. I have to right click the debuff unless I make a macro for it to be able to put another one down. So you have to choose between Portal or Burning Rush, which stays the same, just takes away your health in chunks. It goes through shields, so just so you know, like, as you can see, I have a shield right now, but it's still taking away my health, so you can't cheese the Soul Leech. It's been like that before, just so you know. And then you can choose between Dark Pact, which is our sacrificial pact. Does a lot of shielding. It's a really good cooldown. And I guess it counts as movement because it kind of avoids damage, but it's kind of hard to choose. You want to choose teleport if you want to get out of places fast. You want to choose Burning Rush if you're moving all the time. Think of like Archimond, where you're going to have to keep going back and forward on Heroic, or Mythic when you're moving forwards and backwards. But most likely I think Dark Pact is going to be the best one. It's just a massive shield, really saves healing, so generally go with this one. Next row we have the Grimoires again. We've got Supremacy. Now Supremacy is the same. It means that your Doom Guard is permanent, which definitely better for people who don't want to manage the other Grimoires. But he's not. He takes away the cooldown as well. That's what's really bad about him, is that you can't then summon the other Doom Guard, who lasts for 25 seconds. Lines up really well with the ring, and that's why the ring's going to be still going to be in the pre-patch. So it's definitely a good choice to not be taking this and be taking one of the other ones at least, just so you can have that burst. It's really good damage. So taking Grimoire of Service, just some of my Felguard out. Grimoire of Service is looking like the best talent again for the ring synergy. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown, most likely going to be holding on to it for 2 minutes so that you get it with the ring. It can also line up with Soul Harvest again, 2 minutes, so you get that with the ring and you use Service. It's good damage. It does twice the damage of your normal pet. When you cast this, you really need to make sure that you are getting that demonic empowerment out. It does a lot of damage. You will be using the Felguard pretty much every scenario for this talent. He does an AoE, the Fellstorm is definitely the best, and he does the Cleave, and he's just the most powerful pet. Really, for Demonology, this is the talent you're going to be choosing. Grimoire of Synergy, it does 40%, so it does the same as it did before. It's 40% increased damage for 15 seconds. On either you or your main pet. Remember, that's your main pet, doesn't do it for the imps or anything else that's summoned. It's only your Felguard or yourself. It'll go like you both proc it on each other. So 40% damage, increase for 15 seconds. This is for, I'd say, more sustained AoE. If you want to be burst AoE, you still go Service for that extra Felguard. He's going to be doing Blaze Storm. It's massive AoE damage. So Synergy is for constant AoE, or you can choose this if you want to go with Demon Bolt. So Demon Bolt has changed. For every pet that you have out, you gain 20% increased damage. So this stacks up a lot. It replaces Shadow Bolt. It does a lot of damage from you, so if you are not happy with the way that Demonology works, in the sense that you're just there to be the team mascot for your pets as they all play and fight, Demon Bolt allows you to actually be the one that's doing a lot of damage as well. I'd say probably 40-60%. So you're doing 40%, pets doing 60%, as opposed to you doing like 15% damage, and it's your pets that are doing everything. Pretty much the only damage that you do is Doom, and right now in the pre-patch it does jack damage anyway. We need it in Legion, because in Legion it buffs the damage of your Doom a lot from the artifact weapon, and becomes like a really hard hitting dart. But right now in the pre-patch, Doom does not a lot of damage. It's alright. And then we have Dark Glare. So this really combos with Doom. So you'll get Doom on 2 targets, and I'll summon the Dark Glare on the bar, and you can see him go away on 2 targets. He does quite a lot of damage. Remember, you'd be empowering him the moment you get him out. So he's really effective. Really good for burst damage. He lasts 12 seconds, 24-second cooldown, so it's 50% uptime. You always want to be using him. Does a lot of damage. More for dungeons, you're going to be using this one. Then you have Soul Conduit. So you have Soul Conduit. This most likely is going to be the one that you'll be using for the pre-patch. It allows you to get a lot more imps out, and the reason why this is important is because imps are really the focus of the pre-patch. Looking at the best gear that you want to be wearing, it will be still DSI, but the mythic class trinket, if you have heroic one of course, then try and get that one out as well. So the mythic one, 62% chance on summoning 3 imps. Now, imps are really good because their force set allows you to, every time your imps deal damage, they have an 8% chance to summon a demon from the void. Now the demon that they summon are Vicious Hellhounds. Vicious Hellhounds are the top damage if you choose this setup of improved Dreadstalkers, Soul Conduit. I'm going to stick with Service. So Soul Conduit, you get more imps out, more handy cooldowns. The Clash Trinket, more imps again. Improved Dreadstalkers, more imps. That's an extra 2 imps. Literally flooding the place with imps. Allowing you to get more and more procs on those demons, and they do a lot of your damage. Again, remember, demonic empowerment buffs these as well. It's really important to be doing that. So they are the talents. Remember, there's no glyphs. There are minor glyphs, but they have no significance in combat. So this is the setup most likely I see is going to be used. Or you're going to be changing Improved Dreadstalkers to Implosion for that burst AoE damage. But I would stick to this unless you can see a fight where you are going to be using Implosion a lot. It does do a lot of damage, but remember, misusing this ability sacrifices the tier set procs on imps. Also the fact that just imps do a lot of damage. With the Clash Trinket you get more imps out as well. You would be consuming these who maybe have like long time left. It could have been casting, so it does sacrifice damage, but it does hit a lot. And if you can get it, say, on Manaroth when those imps spawn, they're all stacked up, imps on imps, bam, you just destroy them. That's your essentially Chaos Wave in the current state of the game. So it's like Chaos Wave, it's just doing a lot of damage, or Cataclysm really. But most likely just stick to Improved Dreadstalkers. Maybe let other people do the on-demand AoE. Unless you want to be going for logs. Then, yeah, probably going Implosion. So they're the talents, and I'm going to go over the rotation. Right, so for the rotation, what we're going to do is, so we're going to look at the pull first. So remember, using this setup, what's here now, going to imagine there's a 10-second pull timer. On 5 seconds, we're going to make sure that I'm I'm going to run through it. So we're going to empower the pet before the pull. We're going to use a pre-pot, Shadow Bolt, then empower get those Dreadstalkers out, empower, Doom, build up a couple shards, get the pet out, summon the Doom Guard or the Grimoires, and now we're going to get 4 shards for imps, empower the imps, finish the Doom, get another Shadow Bolt for the Dreadstalkers, they're ready, empower the Dreadstalkers straight away, and just keep going. Now this is pretty much the rotation, we just keep going, get 4 shards, Hand of Gul'dan, empower, and just keep going, keeping up the Doom Dart, getting ready for these Dreadstalkers going to be spawning. There we go, empower. Alright, we've got 5 shards, imps, empower, and this is it. This is the main rotation you're going to be doing all the time, is getting to 4 shards or 5 shards, empowering, remembering to life tap, because that's really important. So yeah, this is pretty much it. Pretty much it until you get the cooldowns back. Calling the Dreadstalkers, empowering, and just keep going. Get 5 in, get 5 shards, gonna Hand of Gul'dan, empower, Doom. Get another Hand of Gul'dan, empower, let's go. Dreadstalkers on cooldown. So that's it. You can see my Felguard was going to be coming up soon. The cooldown for Grimoire. I was doing 105k roughly DPS there. There was no hero there. That's really important. Is the hero on pull will make the start so much faster. It's really slow without hero. You need to be on pull. You want to be getting the Dreadstalkers out as soon as possible to get them on cooldown. You want to be empowering them as fast as you can, and you need to spend 2 shards on summoning the Grimoire Felguard and the Summon Doom Guard. So that's really a lot of shards to be casting, still not getting any imps out. So with hero, that makes it so much faster to be able to get everything out and get it going. You just want to really ask your raid to be very nice to you and say, can we use the ring a few seconds later than we normally would, since you aren't actually going to be able to do any burst in the first like 5 seconds. So ideally I would say holding onto the ring for 10 seconds for you. If you don't have hero, that would be like optimal, that would be the best, but there's no way that you're going to get your raid to do that. Lucky if you can hold it on for about 5 seconds. Remember with hero, it'll make it really good for speeding through that, and you won't need as long to get the setup going. I'm still in combat with this, so I'm just going to let him kill me. So as you can see, that was pretty much the rotation for single target using this setup. I'm trying to kill myself here. So you want to be using that for the single target setup. The only differences that you would see from the fights if you chose different talents is Implosion, which I'll show you. Let me run over. So now I'm going to try the Implosion way of playing. Now remember, so you know the Implosion will reach this second target dummy, so this is as if it would be 2 targets going. So take Implosion, and we'll stay like this. So remember, we're going to empower the pet first. This is important because it costs nothing. You're not even in the fight. You got the 10-second pull timer from your raid going, so you already want to empower him and don't waste the global in-fight, or waste the spellcast time in-fight. So there's 5 seconds left on the pull timer. We're going to empower, use the pre-part, get a shadow block going, get those Dreadstalkers out. Empower again. Doom. Keep going. Get a few shards out. Alright, let's go. Summon the imp. Some of the cooldowns. Get some imps out. Empower. Get some Dreadstalkers out. Empower. My Doom fell off. Alright, I'm going to sacrifice the imps now. There we go. So I lost a few seconds, but I got it within the ring proc. And you kind of just want to keep making sure that you implosion them when they don't have long left. It's kind of annoying to keep using, but it's what you got to do. So can you see there, they had 1 second left, and make sure I get it off. And it does do a lot of damage. So if we look at the DPS, you can see implosion is there up the top. But what is important is if we look at the previous log, that you can see that the wild imps have done a lot of damage on the previous pull. I know I was fighting for slightly longer, but just looking at the way that the graph flows, we have the wild imps doing so much damage on the one before, and the vicious hellhound attack is the vicious hellhound attack is the tier set, and that is why the imps are so important. The way that implosion is working is that it is killing off those imps, but remember, it's only killing them off towards the end of their time of their life, so they wouldn't have done any more damage theoretically. But if you're missing one cast of them off, it's really sacrificing the vicious hellhounds. As you can see here, vicious hellhounds have now dropped down quite significantly on the meter. So this was 2 targets the damage of implosion, so if it was single target it would have been halved. So in the pre-patch definitely won't be using implosion really for single target. You need to make sure you get a few targets, and yeah, implosion's then going to ramp up the damage, since each target is going to do 18k damage too. So if there was a lot of targets, again, Manoroth imps, suck those imps onto the other imps, there's like 8 plus targets there. That's massive damage. You can do it every single time, so really optimal. I did notice that I took Demonic Calling, but I never got any procs on the Dreadstalkers. Normally it would, and don't really know why. It was very little procs on it. But I still stick with this one. Another way we can go, so we stick with improved Dreadstalkers, we're going single target. It's Synergy and Demon Bolt, no need to show it off. You just take Synergy, you take it and forget it pretty much. The only way that you would be optimizing this ability is by using your pet's Fellstorm when he has the buff. So you track it when he gets the buff, and then let his Blade Storm go when there's multiple targets. Remember, it needs to be multiple targets to use the Blade Storm. 2 targets is fine, and he'll shred the damage. This Fell Guard isn't the top damage though of your pets. The Doom Guard does a lot of damage on the cooldown, and the imps are very high on your damage. So Demon Bolt does do a lot of damage. It just replaces Shadow Bolt. That's literally it. Using Synergy allows you to do 40% increased damage while you're using Demon Bolt. You would not take Synergy without taking Demon Bolt for single target. For AoE, Soul Conduit is better. The problem is that with AoE you might probably want to go Dark Glare, because Dark Glare allows you, when you get Doom on all the targets, he does a lot of damage. To get those Dooms out on everything, if you're doing constant pulls of dungeons, you want to be getting Hand of Doom, so you get the Doom on everything, and then you can cast the Dark Glare. If you are having to keep casting Doom on all the targets, then you do like 5 targets, it's 5 global cooldowns before you even start doing damage, because then you'd get the dark glare out and then he'd go crazy. So essentially, stick to Soul Conduit pretty much. If you're looking at, like, say, Mythic Archimond, in that last phase, when those Infernals drop, you want to be doing damage on those Infernals, right? And Demonology lacks from the ability to do 2-target damage, in the way that you have to just switch targets, and if an ad was living for 10 seconds, there's nothing you can do about it. So the way that you can actually do damage, say if those Infernals spawn, you've got 3 Infernals out, you've got the boss, what you're going to do is obviously not Hand of Doom, because Hand of Doom wouldn't hit all those Infernals, and you'd have to manually cast Doom onto the other targets that are too far away, and so you'd spend 3 globals, get the Doom out as fast as possible on all the targets, summon the Dark Glare, and he will then destroy all those Infernals. The really good damage for you. You can then, as well, still focus 1 Infernal down. The Dooms are very unlikely to tick, but they get that summoned Dark Glare damage out. So that's pretty much it. Just looking at Supremacy, no, don't really bother with this one. It's not very good, especially with the way that the ring works now. In Legion, he's a lot better, this talent, but this one is pretty much optimal to be using, and Synergy for Demon Ball, but it's better just to stick with Conduit for even single target. So Conduit just allows you to get more imps out, more procs. It's just far better. So that's the guide for the pre-patch for Legion. So I will be doing a guide for when Legion comes out, and since the artifact weapon increases damage of other things and it makes some priorities more important, and the way Implosion works, but that's all for another time when Legion comes out. So if you liked this guide, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be doing, making sure I'm going to be doing dungeons and raid bosses. I'm going to be playing Demonology mostly, as long as it doesn't suck, hopefully. It does seem to be doing a lot of damage, so I hope to see many of you playing Demonology, and don't give in to Blizz forcing us into destruction and affliction. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.